Okay, welcome everybody. So please do make sure that you have a strap or a scarf or something that you can kind of pull on. We're going to use it in a few different ways today. And we'll get started with some centering, and I'm going to invite you to start laying down. You don't have to, you could be seated if you prefer, but laying down is a nice place to start. And you can have your strap just kind of at hand, so you don't have to reach for it if you want to stay laying down. Constructive rest pose is a nice way to begin, with the knees bent, feet on the floor, letting the knees fall together. Maybe hands rest on the belly. And just take a few breaths to just feel, receive, say hello to your body, whatever it's doing. And just before class, we were talking a bit about the January blues, which is very much a thing. And when the weather is dark and cold, our energy sort of goes to a place of wanting to rest. And so this might be a week where you're noticing that you're not wanting to exercise as much, you don't have as much motivation, if you're in a stressful kind of circumstance, you might feel like your ability to deal with it is lower. And that's normal. It's just sort of what's happening with the season. So if we can take a moment in our practice to just sort of lean into that rather than resist it, like allow ourselves to be held in the darkness behind our eyes, the support of the earth. We can just take a moment to rest and receive. And I'm going to invite you to take a moment to listen into your body and just see if there's anything it's trying to tell you, maybe about what it needs right now. And if anything came to you there, you can kind of keep it with you through your practice. And we'll begin to move a little bit gently. So I'm just opening my arms out to the sides, and I'm taking some windshield wipers with the knees rolling from side to side. You may or may not be lying down right now. Again, we are going to kind of start our official practice from lying down, but we can take a moment to just work with some intuitive movements. So moving side to side, stretching. Maybe if you're in seated, you're doing some circles or reaching the arms up, something like that. Just a little bit of exploration to see how your body wants to move to begin with here. And I've come to believe there's so much wisdom in the body and in those moments. Often the body knows exactly how it wants to move, where it wants to go, how it wants to stretch. The practice is just cultivating the relationship between the mind and the body. Okay, so we'll just take a few more breaths like this, just exploring a little bit of movement. Maybe if you're laying down with me, you're drawing your knees into your chest and rocking side to side or circling um, the legs. And then you can send your legs up to the sky. Again, if you're working with me, I'm just circling the ankles a couple times. Arms could come up too, circling the wrists, just checking that out. Reversing the direction of the circle. And then go ahead and place your feet on the mat, and your hands could be on your belly. So if you're not yet laying down, come and meet us here when you're ready. And we're going to do a couple pelvic tilts. So inhaling to expand the belly and arch the lower back gently. And then as you exhale, gather your pelvic floor in and up, hug your belly button towards your spine and flatten your back to the ground. And we're just going to rock forward and back a couple of times, just kind of noticing how that feels. And maybe also exploring whether or not the pelvis is kind of moving evenly on the two sides. Sometimes mine likes to wobble around a little bit. I have a bit of imbalance in my spine and sacrum. So sometimes it goes a little as I'm doing the rock. So just kind of noticing that, if that's happening for you or if it feels really even and straight. And generally when we do this rocking side to side, the bum stays down. I am just cheating a little bit, or not cheating, but I'm adding actually a little bit as I curl my tailbone in. I'm just lifting the bum up into like a little mini bridge. And that's just going to add my glutes into the equation here. So if that feels right to you, if you want to try that too, go ahead. It's totally optional. I'm just sort of bringing the rolling a little higher on my spine. And then let's come to rest. So just to neutral that little arch in your back and just relax there for a moment. If you'd like to move your knees around or hug your legs, and that's fine, but we're going to return to this shape with the feet on the ground. And then we're going to start to work into a little bit of gentle core. So optionally, you can lift your shoulder blades up off the mat with your fingers interlaced around behind the back of your head. So you're just bringing your upper abdominals in here. That's optional. Draw that belly in and up like we talked about, the pelvic floor drawing in and up as well. And we can start with some simple heel slides. So extending the right leg and then drawing it in. So you can inhale as the leg goes straight and exhale to bend the leg again. I'm still wearing my socks, which makes it a little bit easier to slide on the mat. You might need to lift your leg up a little bit, or if you have carpet under your mat, you could roll it up. And just check in with how this is feeling. If it's working for you, I'll just give you some options to kind of add on. You could lift your shins up off the mat and just tap one foot down at a time. So it's going to be a little bit more work for your abdominals. It's really kind of a different movement. This is a little bit less about the psoas. So it just feels a little bit different. And none of this should hurt your back. It should all feel safe. And we kind of want to work to that place where we feel like the muscles are a little bit fatigued, but they're not stressed or kind of giving up, right? So, you know, sometimes if my lower back starts to talk to me, that tells me my abdominals are not, they're no longer willing, they're done. So that's one indication for me. And that place is sort of different for everybody. So I'm going to keep moving for a little bit longer here, but you can listen to your body if you need a break, or if you're sort of done on this side, that's fine, or on this exercise, that's fine. I'm going to do just one more each side, keeping that belly button drawing in. And then let's take a rest, relaxing down. You can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide. You can relax your arms open to the sides. We're going to do a little bit more core work, but I actually want to do a little something in between. So I'd love for you to be able to completely extend your arms out to the sides like a T. And we can start here. I don't really mind so much to start with what your legs are doing, but we'll do a little shoulder roll. So I'll show on my right first. You can roll your right shoulder forward. So your head is going to tilt a little to the left. And then relax that. And then roll your right shoulder back. So the shoulder blade slides down the back and you might feel your head wanting to turn to the right. And then relax that. Left shoulder is going to roll forward and you may feel your gaze turning to the right. Relax that. And then left shoulder rolls onto the back and you may tilt your head to the left. Okay. And then relax back through center. Let's try to bring that movement together. So as the right shoulder rolls forward, the left shoulder is going to roll back. So it's a little bit like wringing out the washcloth along the shoulder girdle. And then back through center. And then the other way. So the left shoulder rolls forward, right shoulder back. And maybe looking to the right. So don't worry about what your head is doing. Just relax your neck. It'll probably just roll on its own. Okay, it's not something you need to really focus on. I want you to think more about the shoulders and just kind of relax the neck so that the head can go too. And if this is feeling good and you feel like your brain could do another layer, you can bring your knees together if they're not and just rock the knees gently from side to side. It doesn't matter too much, honestly, which way the knees go, but it's going to be away from your face if you can manage that. So as your head is tilting to the left, the knees can fall to the right. So that's just bringing a twist along the length of the spine, as well as horizontally along the shoulder girdle. And again, this is a little bit of brain yoga. We're kind of, this is that tapping your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time, a little bit. And sometimes the movement starts to harmonize. And I've got my knees staying together. So that means, you know, as I go to the left, my right foot's coming off the ground. That part doesn't matter too much. Okay. You could have your feet more separated if that feels better on your back. It's not going to matter too much. I'm going to take 1 or 2 breaths more here. Just trying to be relatively even on the 2 sides, but don't worry too much if you don't remember where you started. And then when you're ready, you can rest again, maybe soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Maybe you're separating your feet a bit. And then just take a moment to receive that. Right. So as promised, we're returning to the core. We're not going to do too much. We're just going to do one more exercise here. And if you found that the heel slides or tapping the feet worked well for you, please feel free to return to that. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to do, oh gosh, I don't remember what this one is called. It's one of my favorites and I'm trying to think of its name. So you're going to bring your shins up to parallel with the earth. And optionally, you could put something between your knees just to have something to squeeze a little bit. If I wasn't as lazy, I would grab my little foam block, but I don't feel like it. So I'm going to use what I have here. It doesn't really matter that much. But squeezing the knees together, bringing the big toes together. You can lift your shoulder blades up or not. You can do it either way, squeezing that block or just imagining squeezing something if you don't have a prop. Gathering the belly in, and then the knees move just past the hips on the inhale, and on the exhale, they gather in. So we're not trying to completely straighten the legs because that'll really go into the hip flexors, and I want to stay in the core, the transverse abdominis ideally. Okay, so this is sort of the meat of the practice, but you can add on a little bit by curling the tailbone at the bottom of your exhale. And try not to do that with momentum. Try to really do it from that place of kind of lifting from those deep core muscles, like adding a little bit of a crunch to it. And as you keep squeezing the block between your knees, that'll help to a degree to stay out of your hip flexors and work into your deep supportive core muscles. And this is a pose that I learned, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was over 10 years ago. I believe it's a part of the Tensegrity series. And I don't know that I ever knew its name, but I've always really liked it. Let's go for 3 more. 2. And 1. And rest. You can return to Soles of the feet together, knees open wide, or knees together, feet wide. And just take a few breaths to receive. Soften your belly. Beautiful. Okay, so at last, we're going to get to our strap. So grab that strap or scarf or whatever you have that you can kind of pull on a little bit. Step your feet to the mat, and then extend your right leg up and take the strap around the ball of your foot. So you're holding either edge of the mat, of the strap, sorry. You can keep your left foot bent as it is, or if you'd like, you can straighten the leg. Start with a little bit of a bend in the knee, press the heel up to the sky and just pull the strap down. So that's gonna focus a little bit on your calf. Just nice deep breaths. You can absolutely breathe from your belly here. And I've got my left foot just a little flex to kind of keep that energy there. And then we'll move to the hamstring. So this might not look very different for you. I'm straightening my leg a little bit and I'm starting to bring my attention more towards bringing the strap like that way over my head rather than straight down towards the ground. I'm still feeling my calf for sure, but the stretch moves a little more into the back of the leg. This is a nice time for Laurel to have requested this strap sequence, which I love. And we did quite a bit of standing. If you were here on Tuesday, you might have sore legs, so this might feel really good after that class as well. Nice, okay. So ease off so that the heel is roughly over the hip if it's not. Hold the strap in your right hand, so both edges of the strap in your right hand. And if your leg is straight, you can take your left hand and just place it on top of your thigh. And we're going to gently open the leg to the right. So we're getting into the inner thigh groin region. I'm pretty open in this range of motion. So I've got my elbow down on the ground to help support me a little bit. And I'm hugging the strap a little up and towards my face. And I'm externally rotating. So my toes are turning just slightly down towards the earth. Beautiful. And then we'll gently bring the leg back up through center. Hold the two edges of the strap in your left hand. Take your right thumb into your outer right hip crease. And you want to think about rolling the hip down, grounding it to the earth. Okay, keep your foot flexed. Wow, I'm already feeling that. And then gently bring the leg across to the left. So it might be like an inch or a centimeter. Okay, it doesn't have to be far. But as we bring the leg across, we're going to start to feel a little more towards the outer part of the leg, IT band area, maybe a little bit the outer hip. Ideally not the knee, okay? Keep the foot nice and flexed. And slightly externally rotate, so the toes are going to turn a little bit off to the right. So you'd be able to see maybe your inner heel. Good, and then we can take this into a twist. So one option is to bring your leg all the way to the floor on the left side, letting your right bum lift up. You could also bend that leg and take a simple one knee twist, or you could stack the knees, which is what I'm gonna do because I have a little bit of a sensitive lower back sometimes, and I find this feels nice for me. So you may still have the strap or you may not. Just taking a few deep breaths in your twist. And then we'll gently come back up so you can use the strap to help you if you still have it around your leg, or you might not need to if you bent your knee. Release the strap and pause in between. So there are a couple ways to do that. One is just feet to the floor, just feel. Another is hugging the knees into the chest. And yet another is Shavasana, so extending both legs long and just kind of noticing how the two legs feel different. I always find this sequence is so good for my lower back, just kind of releasing the tension and the stickiness and the imbalances there. So just kind of noticing your lower back too. And what I notice is I really want to do the other side. So when you're ready, you can step your feet to the floor, take the left leg up and wrap your strap around the ball of the foot. Right leg can be bent, or you can go ahead and straighten it. We start with a bit of a bent knee, and the strap we're just pulling down as the heel presses up to the sky. So that's probably going to be your calf, I'm hoping, which is sometimes a little bit of a hard place to stretch, to get into. But it can get really tight, especially if we do a lot of standing, walking, running kind of stuff. And then let's move into the hamstring. So the leg may straighten a little bit. That might just be an intention. And we're going to start to move the strap and the foot sort of over the head. So it might not look any different for you. That's okay. And you may already be feeling the hamstring and that calf stretch. But just starting to kind of direct the stretch a little bit more into the back of the leg. And I find it helpful to keep my foot really nice and active here. I'm still pressing the heel up to the sky, and my toes are kind of active and pulling down towards my face a bit. Good. Okay, easing up so that the heel is over the hip. Hold on to the strap with your left hand and begin to open it out to the left. And if you've got your legs straight like me, you can put your right hand on the top of your thigh just to anchor. Depending on the proportions of your body, you know, all kinds of things, you may have your elbow down on the ground. You may not. The foot is kind of gently aiming towards your face, kind of in an arc. And keep your feet nice and active, both of them. Lovely. And then we'll draw back up through center. Take both ends of the strap in the right hand. Left thumb comes into your hip crease. So you want to think about rolling the outer hip down towards the bottom of your mat or towards your other foot and anchoring the hip to the ground. And then just very gently drawing the strap across your body to the right. And you can slightly externally rotate here. So you might be seeing the inner heel as the toes turn slightly off to the left. And just nice deep breaths. And then we can take this all the way down into a one-legged twist, still holding the strap, or you can release the strap, knee bent, or you can stack the two knees on top of each other. Just any of those that feel right for you are great. There should be no pain here. You can turn your gaze away from your legs and just take some nice deep breaths. Beautiful. And then eventually you can come back through center using the strap if you still got your foot there, or you're just coming back. You can set the strap to the side for now. We'll use it again, but a little later. And again, you can step your feet to the floor. You can hug them in. You can extend both legs out, just taking a moment to feel the two sides, whether that feels a little bit more even for you now. And then let's make our way to our hands and our knees. So you can rock and roll forward and back along your spine if you like, or you can roll to one side and then press up that way. If you happen to be pregnant, you want to generally roll to your side first. And this can be done in a seat. So we're just going to do some cat and cow. So if you're not putting pressure on your wrists or shoulders right now, you can do this seated. Otherwise, spread the fingers underneath the shoulders, knees under the hips. Toes can be tucked or not, whatever is more comfortable for you. Just inhaling into a little bit of a back bend and exhaling to round your spine. You can close your eyes if you like and just follow your breath. This should feel like kind of a nice, sweet, exploratory movement. And you guys know pretty well sort of how to work with this intuitively. If you want to move side to side or make circles, feel free to just sort of explore the shape. And if downward dog feels like the right thing for you, you can walk your hands a little bit farther forward, maybe a bit wider. Tuck your toes, press your hips up. Keep a little bit of a bend in your elbows and think of your shoulders being nice and deep into their sockets. This one's been such a classic pose, but challenging for me lately with the sinus infection and a hurt shoulder. So I'm checking it out, saying hello to downward dog. And then let's walk to the hands coming into standing forward bend, where you can rest your elbows on your bent knees, keeping your back nice and neutral. You can hang down, holding opposite elbows. Fingertips could be on the mat. And here as well, you can move intuitively, bending one knee at a time or whatever feels right. Or you can just be still, kind of letting gravity do its thing. The only thing I want you to avoid is locking your knees. So just have at least a little bit of space in your knees. Other than that, you're good. And then we'll roll up to standing. So you can bend your knees, gather in your belly, lean back into your heels, and slowly curl up. If it doesn't work for you to come up this way, of course, you can come up with a straight back or a flat back. Okay, just eventually coming to Tadasana, letting the shoulders roll onto the back. Taking a moment to feel your standing witness pose. Okay. And then let's take a couple of half sun salutations just to move some energy through our bodies. Again, it's okay to lean into the craving of rest for January, but it is also nice to keep moving just in gentle ways so that we still have our sort of circulation moving for us. So let's inhale, reaching the arms wide and up to the sky. And then bend the knees and fold forward over your legs. Take a halfway lift, drawing the heart forward. Hands could come to the shins. And then exhale and fold over your legs. Bend the knees, look forward, rising all the way up. Hands to the heart. Okay, and then you can continue to move just like that. That's the classic half sun salutation. And if you are working with something like a shoulder injury or a sinus infection, as I was last week more so, you could do something slightly different where you're kind of doing a standing cat and cow. So you're inhaling, shoulders back, exhaling, folding down to some degree, rounding your spine. And then inhaling, rising up and drawing the shoulders on your back. So that'll keep you moving without so much pressure in the sinuses or the shoulders if you need that. Okay, otherwise, yeah, you guys know the sequence. So just go ahead and follow your own breath. And if you don't know the sequence, I just want you to think of inhale up, exhale down. That's all you really need to know. I'd love for you to connect the movement with your breath because it gives the nervous system soothing and peace. There's no rush. We don't have to be in sync with each other necessarily. Close your eyes anytime that feels supportive and right for you so that you can have your awareness or your focus inward on how you feel. I'm going to take about one more full round. And just next time you return to standing, whenever that is, just take a moment to rest in your Tadasana. Allowing your shoulders and your knees to be soft. All right, I would love for you to grab your strap, please. And we're going to do a little bit of work in the shoulders. So we're going to start with some shoulder flossing. I'm going to see how this goes with my shoulder, which is a little sensitive right now. So we're going to take the strap really nice and wide to start, and you can change this as you go. And we're going to inhale to reach the strap and the arms up, and then gently back and over. Oh yeah, that actually feels pretty good for me. And then we're going to inhale, reaching the strap up, and exhale and bring it over. So if your shoulders are a bit tight, a bit sensitive like mine are, you can have the strap really nice and wide. If you feel like you've got more space, you can bring the strap a bit closer together. I'm being kind of conservative about this today for me. And just take your time gently opening these different areas of the shoulder. And if there are moments that feel like, ooh, that feels really nice, I want to stay there, that's okay. You can stay there for a breath, just give it a little extra. We'll do that in a moment together, but again, if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, you could do that so that you can really feel what's happening. Let's do one more. And next time you bring the strap around behind you, just go ahead and find a place that feels like a nice stretch. Just hang out there for a moment. And it should feel like a nice stretch, not painful. And actually, let's add the neck a little bit here. So if you're okay to stay, if this doesn't feel good, just bring your hands down. If you're okay to stay for a moment, just gently bring one ear over towards that shoulder. Up through center and over to the other side. So this is going to feel a bit different from a usual neck stretch probably. I'm not going as far because I can feel that stretch all the way down my arm. And maybe just one more time each side if it feels okay. Good. And then we'll gently head back to center first, then allow your hands to relax. And then you can kind of walk your hands a little bit closer together on the strap so that they're maybe hips distance or so, even closer than that, and have them facing forward. Soften your knees again and just pull the strap apart as you hug the shoulder blades together and press your heart up towards the sky. Lovely. Gently release that. You can hold the strap just in one hand and just take a moment to sort of receive. You might roll the shoulders a little bit, or you might just rest them. Good. Okay. So keep the strap in your hand, but we're going to add a little bit of movement from the bottom as we go from here. So you're gonna come and stand at the top of your mat if you're not already. And take a nice big step back with your right leg. I'll go over this side. For warrior one, okay? So the toes are gonna be a little bit pointed forward and we've got hips distance between the heels. So it's kind of like a long walking stance. You can start with your legs straight, draw your tailbone down, press the back heel into the mat, and then bend into your front leg until you feel this nice stretch here. Then take your strap in line with your forehead so that your elbows are bent and your palms are facing in towards your body like this. The first name I heard for this is ninja pose because you put on like the ninja strap. It's a bit of a weird name, but there it is. And then pull the strap apart to the right and the left as you hug your elbows in together. As you inhale, lift the whole thing up, keeping the shoulders down. And as you exhale, lower. So for me, this is shoulder core. It's strengthening the tiny muscles in the shoulders that help to support the whole shoulder structure. And I find it's really, really beneficial, but it's not easy or comfortable in the moment. And the place where that challenge is coming in is pulling the strap apart, but keeping the elbows hugging together. One more. Whew, that's extra hard for me today. I haven't done that in a while. And then release the hands by your sides. You can still hold the strap in one hand and you can softly step forward. And just take a moment to notice what your shoulders are doing. I often feel that they just kind of naturally want to open after I do that. And let's do it on the other side. And then we're done with the shoulder core, okay? So go ahead and step back with your left foot. Nice long walking stride, starting with the legs straight. Draw the tailbone down, press into that back heel, and then bend the front leg until you feel a stretch. And then bring the strap in line with your forehead, pull it apart, but hug the elbows underneath your wrists and keep them there. And then lift and lower with your breath. Keep the neck long, gaze steady, looking forward. Try to keep your warrior one alignment, so tailbone down, strong back leg. Whew, last one if you can. This one's kind of kicking my butt today. I can feel that my shoulder's not super happy. Beautiful. And then we'll gently step forward. You can still hold the strap in one hand. Just allow the shoulders to rest or the arms to rest by your sides and kind of notice how that feels. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a step back with the right foot again. This time we're going to come into warrior two. So this time it's a skinny stance in the sense that your front heel is roughly in line with your back arch. Drawing the tailbone down, knee right over your ankle. You can open your arms up and I'd love for you to have your strap in your right hand. So that's your back arm, yeah. And then actually maybe we should do it from the front arm. Let me think about that for a second. Let's do it from the front arm. Let's try that. So take it in your left hand, sorry. Reach your arms up and then bend that left elbow so the strap is hanging down behind your back. And then you can take your right arm down behind you so the palm faces back and then hold on to the strap anywhere and just gently draw down on the strap as you open the shoulder. I'm being very gentle with this. This is my shoulder that's been a little unhappy. But if it's feeling good for you, you can gently press the back of your head into your arm. And if it's continuing to feel good, you can add exalted warrior. So you can lean back a little bit towards the back leg. Beautiful. Nice, you guys. And then gently come up through center. Release your arms open, still holding the strap in one hand. Look forward and gently step back up to the top of your mat. Good. Okay, let's do that on the second side. So opening up left leg behind you, arms open, and we'll take the strap in the right hand, so the front hand. Reach up, bend that right elbow. So the strap is hanging, and then the left arm comes around behind you and gently hold the strap to help you to get that little bit of a stretch. Think tailbone down, knee right over top of your ankle. Maybe gently pressing the head into your arm, resisting a bit with your arm. And if this is all feeling good, you could add a little exalted warrior, just leaning back a bit towards the back of your mat. Gently ease up. As you're ready, release the arms open and softly step forward. You might need a couple steps, and you can let go of the strap for now. I think we're done with the strap unless something else comes to me. So let's just take a moment to just rest and receive. Notice how your shoulders are sitting right now. And let's come down again towards the earth through a squat pose. So you can turn your toes out, feet about mat's distance, maybe a bit wider. You can kind of adjust that as you go. And there are some props that you may like depending on your body. So you can just come right down. The sort of classic yoga squat doesn't necessarily use any props. You can also sit on a block or two. For some people, it's really helpful to have props underneath the heels. And if this is just not working for you, just sit right down on the ground. We'll meet you there. So elbows press into the inner thighs, feet active, glutes active can be helpful. Try to have a nice long spine. Beautiful. And then if you're not already, let's sit down. You can take your hands around behind you. And then you can wash your knees from side to side. And release your legs. You can give them a little shake. So we've done a fair amount of work on the shoulders, but let's give the neck a little bit of love. Nice and simple. So seated, I'm going to sit on this little foam block. You can sit on your heels too, that'd be fine. And then you can either take your fingertips beside you, or you could hold opposite elbows around behind your back. Okay. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders down, and then draw your chin in towards your chest. Pause here, take a nice deep breath into the back of your neck. And then we're just slowly, lazily gonna roll from side to side. So leaning your head over towards the left, ear over the shoulder, maybe leaning back slightly, feeling into the front of your neck. And then gently coming back down through center. Head heavy, this should feel pretty relaxed. And then over to the other side. The neck and shoulders are so intimately connected. Just nice deep breaths. Take your time. If you feel kind of a sweet spot, don't be afraid to stay there for a few moments. You don't have to go at the same pace as me. And I'm just gonna aim back to center, back to chin to chest. And I'm going to pause there at chin to chest and just slightly wobble my head from side to side. For me, there's a really nice sort of back of the neck stretch that I just find really lovely right here, right now. And eventually you can roll your head back up through center. Release your hands to your lap. And then take a couple of rolls of your shoulders. And reverse the roll. And then look side to side. Back through center, and just take a moment to receive if there's any other movement or fidgeting that you need. Trust that. Beautiful. Okay, I'd like to do a little bit of hip opening here. And I'd like to do it laying on the back. So I know that many of you have variations of hip openers that you like. Feel free to take the one you want to do. I'm going to offer thread the needle into a supine cow face pose. And just for reference, the stretch that we did with the elbow up over the head is a part of cow face pose. We'll do the bottom part. So we'll start with just simple thread the needle, which I think you guys all know. So we've got the right ankle across the left thigh. Right hand goes between the legs, holding on to the back of the left thigh to get into the outer hip. Keep your feet gently flexed, your tailbone on the ground. And if it helps, you could wedge a low prop underneath your bum, which will take some of the gravity out of the equation if you feel like you're kind of reaching for your legs. Another option is to use your strap around the leg just to make your arms longer. Sometimes it's really nice to rock a bit from side to side here. Sometimes it's nice to just be still. Either is fine. You're welcome to stay if this is working for you, or release your hands and cross your legs as if you were sitting cross-legged in a chair. And then allow the crossed legs to come in towards you. So you could be holding your closer knee or your farther one. You could also be holding your shins or your feet. So just whatever feels kind of easy to hold to gather the legs in towards you. And I'm hoping that you're just feeling the stretch move a little bit. So it's still in your hip, but it's in a different sort of part of your hip. Beautiful. And then let's gently release. And I like to slip this right into happy baby. So the knees go wide and then the feet go up to the sky. And I'm rocking a bit from side to side. And then release your legs. You can give them a little shake. And then take your left ankle across your right thigh and take thread the needle on the side. Again, feet gently flexed, most especially the left foot. That'll help protect your knee and make sure that the stretch is actually in your hip. Maybe there's a little rocking here, maybe not. I often find the two sides are different for me. I like to rock on one side and not the other. So just kind of being curious about any differences. Okay, and again, you can stay here if it's working for you, or release your hands and slide the legs together so that they're crossed as if you're sitting cross-legged in a chair. And then you can hold close knee, the far knee, the feet or shins, just whatever is kind of accessible for you to hold so that you can hug the legs in and get that kind of interesting stretch. It's sort of a bit of a tough spot to get into a lot of the time. Some people really, really love this pose because it just gets that spot in the hip. And for some people, this can be a really good one for sciatica if your sciatica is based on a really tight piriformis muscle. Sort of depends on how your body works and how things fit together, but for some people, this is a bit of a magical one for sciatica. Beautiful. And then we'll gently return to happy baby. So soles of the feet go up to the sky, knees slip wide, and you can rock a bit if you want. When you're ready, you can release that, maybe shake your legs up towards the sky. And what I'd love for you to do from here is Shavasana, and we're going to rest in Shavasana a little bit longer than we sometimes do. So I invite you to if there's anything missing in your practice that you feel like you need, please feel free to take your time to do that. Okay, and then B, set up your Shavasana so it's really comfortable. Put your socks back on, get your bolster underneath your knees, cover yourself with a blanket, get your eye pillow, whatever it is that you need to be comfortable here. We've got a good 5 minutes. And you can rest in Shavasana for like 20 minutes comfortably. Usually after 20 minutes, your body starts to want to change positions, but we forget sometimes how important the medicine of rest is, how important it is to do nothing sometimes. So I invite you, especially if you're watching this on the recording and you're having an urge to turn it off and get back to your day, I'm just going to invite you not to do that, to stay, to be really present in your Shavasana, to rest with us. And take a moment to notice how you feel, how your body is receiving rest. And you can stay here just as long as you want to and have the time for. Otherwise, you can begin to gently bring some small movements into your body, softly awakening back to present moment. Maybe there's a deeper breath or a stretch. And then gather your knees in towards you and roll to one side. And returning to a seat. And place your hands on top of your heart or together at your heart or wherever feels most right for you right now. And then gently bow your mind to your heart, just thanking yourself for showing up to your practice, honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us in our yoga, honoring and acknowledging the sacredness of the land that we practice on. And thank you for sharing that practice with me.